Okay, so today I think I'm going to go in with the Morphe Cosmetics Jaclyn Hill, the Vault, one of the palettes out of there. This one is Bling Boss. I typically like these colors a little bit more because they have a purpley pinkish tone to this one. I also like Ring the Alarm because it's got reds in it, and I have blue eyes, so that tends to make them pop more. I've already primed my eyes with concealer. I used the e.l.f. Camo Hydrating Camo Concealer. I am going to set that with my Fenty Beauty Lavender Pro Filter Powder. Now, some people don't feel the need to set anything, and if you have, you know, skin like that, or, you know, you just don't like to set anything, that's a personal preference. I have to because stuff creases on me and it looks janky if I don't set it. So I'm doing my eyes first so it doesn't get all over my face because I tend to make a mess. So let's see, I'm first going to go in with the shade Hush Hush right here. It's the lightest shade in the palette. The shade Sparks. Now, I did a similar look to this. I posted it on my Instagram, and honestly, like, I can't even tell you. I used this palette, I know I did, but I don't really remember. I'm assuming I used shades, like pretty much all these shades that I'm using now, but I don't really, I'm just gonna put this all over my eyelid. I don't really remember what I used to accomplish that. Because I posted a few YouTube videos, and for anybody that followed my old account, please subscribe to this account because I can't, my email and my password for that one, the old one, does not work. So if you want to follow me and, you know, listen to my annoying voice, then subscribe, hit the bell, be alarmed when my big head comes on here, and we will be perks of having a golden retriever, you always have hair in your mouth. We'll be talking about makeup and murders and mysteries, hence the name of the channel. Now, some people may find that weird and be like, why is that what you would combine, is makeup and murders? But that's the two things I like. I won't say I like murders. I'm not a murderer. I'm interested in true crime. So that was the easiest way for me to pick, was just to put them together because I didn't want to pick. I didn't want to pick one or the other, and I love them both. So I just thought, why not do something different? And if people like it, they like it. And if they don't, they don't. But I'm just gonna have fun. So I'm just gonna keep blending that. I put it all. Now I won't do my bottom lashes until I do my foundation. I'm now going to go in with the shade Mystic. It's darker. And just keep, you know, building this up. And I try to do, you know, pinks and reds and browns for my eyeshadows, typically because I have blue eyes, and you don't want, I mean, you can do whatever color you want and what you can always make it work, but I just feel like if I use opposite colors, it makes my eyes pop more. And like I said, I have small features anyway, so if I use blue or, you know, a green, then typically my eyes look a little bit smaller. And I don't want that. I want them to appear larger, like these lips. So, now I am going to be doing a makeup look. I don't know when it'll be here. My friend Adrian sells a makeup brand called Mascara. It's pretty big now. There's several artists probably in your area, depending on where you are, but Adrian is the artist for my area, and it's all cream products, but you can do your whole face with like these 4 little tins. And I had it before, and then I moved, and I have no idea what I did with it, and it didn't really work for me before because my skin is so dry, and I feel like it's cutie right here. I get really dry here and like right here, and it was not working when, you know, I would try to use it. But I think if I moisturize and use my primer oil, it should work good for me, because there are days like I just want to do my makeup in 5 minutes and not have to worry about it, and that is like the only thing I've seen around that gets that job done that fast. So if anybody in my area is looking for something quick and easy and full coverage to use, I would suggest looking into Mascara. Adrian is on Facebook. Her name's Adrian Martin. She does, I think the page is called Positively Radiant. But she can color match you if you aren't sure. She can give you a lot of information. So check that out if you want something quick and easy. Okay, so did I go in with that? I don't even know what I did. So, okay. So now what do I want to do? I'm going to go back in with Hush Hush. That was the lightest shade we used. And just blend the edges out a little bit so that it doesn't look like I just slapped this on there. And like I said, I do my eyebrows after my eyeshadow's done, so it kind of pulls it together a little bit more than it does right now. Drugstore products have recently, you know, gone up in price, I feel like, as opposed to what they were a few years ago. But I think that's probably due to, you know, these affordable brands being online, and beauty gurus talking about these affordable products and drugstore products. So, but like I said, I mean, it's not like a huge rise. I mean, it's not like you're gonna go to Walmart and pay $35 for a setting powder like you would at Sephora, but it's just what, you know, you can find dupes for everything. So I don't care what anybody says, there's dupe. If there's an if there is an expensive product out there that you like, you find a dupe for it. Okay, so I'm gonna go back in with Sparks and blend that out a little bit because it's not really the same color. It's got, you know, that purple or whatever in it, but it's got a little red tinge to it too. When somebody's like, oh, my kid or my niece or whatever is the cutest thing I've ever seen, I'm like, no, they aren't. They're not, because mine are. No, I don't have any kids. So I just, you know, obsess over my sisters. And I like to live my life like that. Okay, so this is kind of the, I'm into this. It's kind of red, kind of pink, kind of purple. But nothing, you know, and I think I want to do a bold lip too. I got these new lips. I did get filler and I only did half a syringe. I go to, if you're in the Clarksburg, Bridgeport area, I went to Rejuvenation Med Spa over across from Sheets in Bridgeport. And they're my favorite. They do all my Botox, my filler, everything spa related. I go there because they're my favorite. I love my lips. I want to go bigger, but definitely look them up if you know, they do all kinds of stuff there. They're really good, really professional. So check them out if you're in the area. Okay, so I'm gonna wipe my face off. And we will start on the foundation. So now I'm going to move on to foundation. Now I am going to go in with this Liquid Glow. I got this in a BoxyCharm a couple years ago. It's by Temp 2. I like it just because it adds an extra glow. But, you know, you don't have to use this. I just like it because my skin is dry, so I just put it all over.
Now I wear this a lot when I go to the beach because you want glowy skin at the beach, and especially when you have a tan, it looks really good. So I try to use that when I'm there.
Now I did have primer on prior to putting this on because I put it on before I did my eyes. And it was just my primer oil by NYX, because I needed something. My skin's like all jacked up. I have like texture here, a couple breakouts here. I don't know what's going on. So, you know, I just wanted something that was more hydrating so it doesn't accentuate this skin of mine. So I'm going to go in with the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation. I'm in the shade LN4. And I like this because you can build it up, but it's not like too much. Like, I don't think. Ow. Ow, it hurt. Hurt myself. I hurt myself today. So So just bounce that in. And it really does make you look like you have healthy skin. Now me, I might look like a mess because like I said, I have breakouts and whatever, but it does look really good if you're having a good skin day. But I don't really like anything real matte. That is not my forte. Not my vibe. Never gonna be my vibe. This is the Physicians Formula Mineral Wear Loose Powder. So it's not really heavy, but I like a little more extra coverage. So I'll go in with this over top of my foundation and everything, just for a little more coverage. Now I set my whole face with this, including my nose. My nose always needs extra coverage. I don't know why. Nothing stays on my nose and my skin is not oily at all. But for some reason, my nose is the one place that product does not stay. But moving on. I don't know if you guys get sick of hearing me talk, but I'm sick of hearing myself talk. Okay, now my nose itches. Right here where I'll put bronzer and contour, I do go back in with that Pro Filter powder because I don't always feel like this gets set down enough and it can look really muddy if I don't get it set down. So I am going to go in now. I have like, what am I doing? Why am I on camera and why am I talking? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I'm going to go in with the Butter Bronzer by Physicians Formula, but I used the light one. They do have different shades now. They used to just have the original one. But we're going to go in with the light one. And just warm it up in this joint. Warm it up on this winter day. need new lights up in here because this is not working for me. My one cheek looks like it has a bunch of bronzer on it, and then this doesn't look like I got any. Now, you might like to have two-toned skin where you got some color up here and it don't match your neck, and maybe that's your vibe, but that ain't my vibe. So I take everything down my neck. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Contour Kit, the powder one, and I'm going to use one of these colors to chisel thy face. So no matter what, I always have bronzer on, whether I contour or not, but I do try to contour just because I have a rounder face and it helps, you know, make it look like I have better set cheekbones than I really do. Okay, so back in, this is like, I use this through the whole process, so you're just gonna, I use this all the time. I'm gonna bake with it now. While we finish up my face and finish up my eyes, and we will move on to the murders and mysteries part of this segment. What do we want to do? I'm just going to use, this is a Morphe palette. This is, 9N, I think. I'm just going to use this one up in the corner. I don't even know what it's called. Now, I tend to go heavy on the blush, so if I turn out looking like a clown, that was my goal. Now, I will say, even if you have a vanity light or a ring light and, you know, your makeup, you think your makeup looks like crap or it looks weird, I'm telling you, once you get out in like natural light, it's not going to look like that, because there's so many times that I get ready in front of this vanity that I'm like, oh my gosh, I look like a crust bucket. What is this? Why didn't anybody tell me I looked like that? And then when I go outside and I see it like not this close up, then I'm like, oh, it looks all right. She be looking okay. She be looking cute. Okay, so now before we finish my eyes, I'm gonna highlight. Like before I said, I use this Jaclyn Hill. What is this? Moonlight. What is this? Luminous powder. Brighten up. And I put this on the apples of my cheeks. You know. Let's see. Like we sun-kissed, but we're not, because it's snowing and it's cold, and I take my dog out, and you know what he wants to do? He don't want to go to the bathroom. He wants to fling himself in the snow. So while I almost fall and kill myself, he's having the time of his life. Okay, so now we will go in and finish my eyes, my eyebrows, and my lips. it may not do anything, but we're just going to do it. And then, see, I wasn't going to go anywhere. My sister just called and wants to go get stuff. So it may work out that I have makeup on. Okay. So I'm going to go in, and now most people wear false lashes with this. I personally am not in the mood to put on lashes, and I don't feel like they're always necessary like people want to make them out to be. So I'm going to curl my lashes, put on mascara, put on a lip, and I will be right back. Okay, so this is the finished look. I typically don't do this bold of a lip, but I got this new ColourPop one from Ulta the other day, and it matched my eyes, so I thought, why not? So, let's move on to the murders and mysteries part of our channel. So I know I had mentioned in the last video that I wanted to talk about the, there was a case here in the Clarksburg area in 1981, and his name was C.R. Diaz. And I was waiting to hear back from somebody that was, local and yet like a little boy at the time too, and I actually just heard back from him last week, I think. So I'm gonna read you what he said, what he remembers from that day, but I could not find a lot of information on this case. I don't know if it just because the suspect that they say did it actually just got arrested 2 years ago. So I don't know if it was an open case and they just didn't release any information, or if the family, you know, asked that not be given out. I'm not sure, but I know, you know, some main facts, and I'm going to read this individual's recollection of that day. But C.R. Diaz was a 7-year-old boy. He and his family lived in Northview, for those of you that are local and know what that area is. He was your typical 7-year-old boy, played outside all the time, would ask neighbors, you know, if they wanted to play with him in his yard. And his family was pretty well known from what I understand. His dad was in politics somehow. They still live in the same house. They're still local. Everyone says what great people they are. I haven't heard anybody say anything like negative about the family. So on June 26, 1981, CR was playing outside. I'm assuming, you know, the typical thing to do in, you know, that time. And I want to point out that during those times that was normal. It's not like it is now where you have to, you know, keep an eye on your kids 24/7 and you can't let them out of your sight, and, you know, now they can't go anywhere by themselves because it's not safe. But, you know, in the early 80s, that's, you know, what was typical. You know, the kids would play outside, the parent, you know, it wasn't so dangerous that the kids couldn't be on their own or ride their bikes, especially in this area. This is a pretty small area. You know, that Northview, Clarksburg, Bridgeport, they're pretty small towns. So from what I could gather, the last known sighting of CR that day was him riding his bike away from the house. Now, I don't know if he was just, you know, planning to ride around the area, or if he was going to the park, or, you know, like I said, there wasn't a lot of information, but that was the last known sighting. So I'm not sure when they assumed he would be home, or, you know, what was typical of him during, you know, the days that he would go ride his bike, usually when he would come back, or, you know, where he would be. But at some point, the parents become, you know, worried. You know, he's not home. He left on his bike. Nobody has seen him. So they begin a search of the area, and from what the individual that emailed me told me, you know, all the neighbors were helping look, the cops, anybody that, you know, knew of the incident was helping them look around the area. And unfortunately, the body of C.R. Diaz was found, I believe, later that day, correct me if I'm wrong, in a wooded area near the park of Northview. From, you know, there wasn't a lot of details, but from what I read, they said, you know, most articles said he suffered several different injuries that led to his death. They said there was a cord or string found around his neck. And, you know, like I said, I don't know if it was an open case, but up until 2018, that's a lie. There had been an arrest of a younger boy when it happened, and I do believe the boy was let go because, you know, they cleared him. He had no involvement. But the man that, you know, was later arrested and charged with his murder lived in that area, like was right there. I want to say like a street or so over. The neighbor kids knew him. They, you know, the neighbors said they were suspicious at the time, but, you know, there was no hardcore evidence. Now, moving forward to 2018, I don't know what evidence was found, or, you know, if they had some DNA testing done, but I know that they said, you know, the local sheriff's department, the FBI, several different entities were involved with new evidence that led them to the suspect, William Clyde Jeffries, and he was later arrested and charged with his murder. Now, at the time, William Clyde Jeffries would have been 17. He is now in his late 50s. He is somewhat mentally impaired. When they arrested him, one of the first comments he made was, "I hope I don't do life." Well, Bob, probably gonna do life. Anyway. But, so I'm sure that was great closure for the family. To go, it was like 36 years, to go all that time and never know who did it, but have your suspicions. William Clyde Jeffries was arrested before, for some type of sexual assault or some type of sexual behavior, prior to being arrested for this. And, I don't know if C.R. Diaz was sexually assaulted. I couldn't find that anywhere. I've heard rumors, I've heard stories, but I mean, you can't really put that stuff out there. I don't have facts to back that up. But I'm going to read you this man now that emailed me back was 12 at the time that CR went missing and was later found deceased. And he gives me his, recollection. He said all the memories were not, really clear because it was so long ago, but he told me what he could remember, what he knew was a fact. And I really appreciated him getting back to me. A lot of people, aren't interested, but he was willing to give me what he remembered and help me out with this channel. So I'm going to go ahead and read you his email. I won't say what his name is. I don't know if he wanted me to release that information, but let's see. Okay. So it's a pretty lengthy email, but I will read it and, give you my thoughts. And then If you guys have any cases, local, worldwide, something well known that you want me to cover, please let me know below so we can do more of these, do more, they don't have to be murders, they can be unsolved cases, they can be missing people, whatever. So link that down below. Comment down below what you would like to see, what you want to talk about, and if you have any information on cases or anything like that, please let me know. So I'll start this email. Greetings, Madison. Sorry for the lengthy delay. I should note that my memory is very foggy on the matter, as I was 12 to 13 at the time of the situation. As you can imagine, was extremely traumatic. Here's a little bit of what I believe to be correct. I remember the day of the event, even if I'm not sure all the details after such a length of time are accurate. I can tell you, as I typed in the press release provided the day an arrest announcement was made by Sheriff Robert Matheny and began to type the words Conrad Roger, CR, I froze and went numb. I was literally transported back to 1981 mentally, and it wasn't pleasant because I knew the word Diaz was coming after CR, particularly with the words cold case in the headline of the release. A little background. I lived on the corner of Pearlman and 18th Street. The Diaz family lived on the corner of Pearlman and 16th Street, 1 block away on the opposite side of the street. The Diaz family were and still are good people. Roger and his wife Sharon live there to this day. The suspect under arrest lived on Franklin Avenue, the next street up from Pearlman. From an eye's view, the distance from my house to the Diaz house and that of the suspect was roughly the same. CR used to play in the yard every day. Back then, kids played outside from his young age to well into their teen years. We all rode bikes, and I would ride daily that direction, often to go to the Northview Park, meet friends, or head to James Fuzzy Lopez's community store for baseball cards or a cold can of pop. CR would always wave at you. He would always ask you if you wanted to play. CR was just a typical kid with his toys, playing in the dirt, looking for someone to play with him. The day he came up missing, there wasn't a lot of people overly concerned in my age bracket that anything was seriously wrong. There were, though, a lot of people looking for him. A good friend, Doug Sprouse, and I walked to the ball field to help look with the community members and plenty of police who may have suspected it wasn't normal. I have no idea. Doug and I proceeded to go to the walking trail at the baseball field where all the kids would ride their bikes. It was in an area that would be considered to be the right field at the Northview Athletic Complex field. For whatever reason, no one had been in that area yet, and for whatever reason, Doug and I both got creeped out and told each other to leave. When I typed the press release and finished nearly 40 years later, I called Doug to see if he recalled the same thing. He said he did recall wanting to get off the trail and out of the wooded area. Probably 30 minutes later, CR's body was found. It was basically found in the area where we were at. I believe a member of the McIntyre family of Northview, that I'm not certain of. That area has since been cleared of all trees and today is just a grassy hillside. That day was horrifying. My brother, a year older than me, and I couldn't sleep. In fact, that was the case for days, weeks, and even months, as we would keep the lights on and we were terrified. I'm pretty sure it was the case for all kids our age. I remember there was immediate relief that the alleged perpetrator, William Clyde Jeffries, was responsible. I typed his name first in the text sent to me by the sheriff, but it didn't ring a bell. Everyone referred to him as Willie, and he had some developmental issues that have been documented in media coverage of the matter since the arrest. Nothing came together mentally when the recent news broke until the letter CR showed up as I typed. As the days went on, everyone in our group was certain it was him. Eventually, and this hasn't been reported, or if so, only minimally, there was a juvenile arrested in the case. He was a kid from Northview and today is in jail for, I believe, sex-related crimes. And again, not certain on the crimes, but certain he was arrested and doing hard time. He was tried in the 1980s as a youth and I think was released to a mental type facility for not having the mental capacity to know what he was doing. Not sure if that's exactly how it broke down, but there was an arrest and there were legal proceedings. Within a day or two after the murder, my brother and I heard a knock at the door, saw Detective Steve Toriak with Clarksburg PD. Steve, who has since passed, was a longtime friend of the family and beloved by the community. He asked my brother and I to come to the squad car. My parents were told about it, but didn't tell us it was going to happen so we wouldn't worry or think about what we were going to say. Steve and his partner were questioning everyone about what took place that day and what we knew or may have seen. Steve made it as comfortable as possible for us in a really uncomfortable situation. Oddly, I don't remember much after that. Eventually, things turned normal again, or rather a new normal. The phrase, innocence lost is tired, yet that accurately described what happened that day. Everything changed to a new way. Doors locked, phone calls to check on kids, and curfews for everyone. It was different. Outside of remaining friends with the Diaz family, where I would occasionally think back to the day when talking to them, specifically Roger, who my work over the years has me encountering him frequently, I had put the murder in the corner of my memory and locked the gate. Oh, dog scared me. Can't you read murder stuff? I had put the murder in the corner of my memory and locked the gates. That changed that day, February 21st, 2018, when Sheriff Matheny texted me that press release because he couldn't find my email and the floodgates opened. Just a sad day all around. I hope that helps. Best to you, and keep me updated on how the channel works. So, I mean, that's a lot of information. That's a lot to remember. As a kid, you would be scared. It would be frightening to, live down the street and they find, somebody that a child right up the road. But our prayers and thoughts always with the Diaz family. Even all this time later, I'm sure it's hard to think about that day and, know that the person that did it was right down the road. And, but now he will be serving time for his crime. And as always, we want to advocate for the victims of these crimes. So many know the names of the murderers or, the suspects, but they don't remember the victims' names. And I think that's so sad that so many families have this happen and, their child's name isn't remembered or their child's name is forgotten. So, please advocate for the victim. Talk about the victim. Don't talk about the murderer. Don't give them that credit. Don't give them, that publicity that they want. And let's keep this channel going. I enjoy telling stories. I know that was a little rough because I didn't have a lot of information to go off of. But please, if you have a case you want me to look at, if you have makeup tips or anything that you want me to talk about, please let me know. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and then always you can comment here below. So I'll see you next time on Makeup, Murders, and Mysteries. Bye, guys.